Most men today feel lost even while they're doing everything right. And so did I. I was training like 6 times a week, gorging down kilos of protein, taking all kinds of supplements. I was doing everything I was supposed to do, but I was still feeling off. I still felt weak. Still felt tired. I still didn't gain muscle as quickly as I wanted. And I still didn't have a morning wood. Yeah, it's a bit uncomfortable, but it actually was a big struggle for me. I was thinking like, how can it be that I'm doing everything right? I'm working out, I'm eating my protein, I'm taking the right supplements, but I still didn't have all those things I talked before. And it didn't make sense. I was working like harder than ever. I was pushing harder than ever. And every time I just thought to myself, maybe I didn't push hard enough. Maybe I haven't found the perfect routine. Maybe I haven't like unlocked a secret power or something. Maybe my body is just fucked. And I just remember feeling so confused, feeling so lost. It was so exhausting because if you looked online, you found so much information, so many people saying something different. And I just couldn't make up what worked for me. So I felt lost. And it took me many years to actually figure it out how to solve this. So you know me as TheLostBio, but obviously it didn't start like that. So in the beginning, I was training really hard, 6-7 times a week. I had football, so I didn't even know how to eat yet. So I was just consuming loads of protein. I was making this huge bowls of like pasta with black beans, ground beef, like all these jarred vegetables. I would just make like a crazy mix and just eat it all up. But well, guess what? It didn't help me. It just led to bloating, gut issues, basically flushing it all down the drain, literally. And it didn't help me whatsoever. So I was doing that. I was doing loads of workouts, but I still drank. I still like drink alcohol like 2-3 times a week. I slept for like 6 hours a night for years, thinking it was normal. And quite frankly, I think I just forgot how it felt to be healthy, because I just thought it was normal. Because my parents used to say, oh, yeah, we are just used to sleeping 6 hours a night. I sleep 6 hours. My dad slept 6 hours a night. My grandpa slept 6 hours a night. So they made me assume that it was just healthy to sleep less than normal. And same thing with food and stress management. You should always just push on. Like, emotion is something you can shut off, because my dad was in the military, so he always taught me that you should push through, be disciplined, and that's exactly what I did for like many years. And it actually went quite well. I was never really frustrated about it until my parents divorced. So at that point, the whole foundation, my whole my whole youth just kind of came to a quick stop, because I had to move out from my parents' house, and I actually moved to the new girlfriend of my dad. And yeah, you might ask, why would you do that? That's a different story. But I actually moved to that house, but they didn't have a room for me. So I lived at the attic, the attic from the horror stories. If you ever watch the horror story, they always go upstairs and then they get this crazy ladder out of the attic. That's exactly where I spent almost 1.5 years. I had only a mattress. I couldn't actually even stand up. And I had the box, a television, and an old PlayStation. And the best part is Corona hit then. So for like a whole year and a half, maybe even 2, I had nothing to do than laying on a fucking mattress in the attic with nothing but my phone, an old TV, and a PlayStation. And I mean, after wasting loads of hours on Netflix, doom scrolling, doing whatever, corn, you know, like, yeah, just wasting your energy, wasting your potential. I finally decided to pick up a book. I finally decided to think, and I still clearly remember the exact book and the exact line which kind of broke me at that point. And the first book I ever read was like a Roman, I don't know, so a Roman on the history of philosophy called Sophie's World. And I still remember that I opened this book, and on the second page there was this very silly line, and it's actually still so stupid to me how I broke. I literally broke down after reading this sentence, and it basically was 3 words: who are you? And at that time, at that point in my life, I didn't know. I had no idea who I was. I had no idea who I wanted to become. I had no idea if I even was someone. Because I was lost. I was doing everything. I was pushing hard, and I was doing all kinds of things. But when I actually read that sentence about who are you, I didn't know. I couldn't come up with an answer. I didn't know. So that led me to go down a very obsessive path of self-improvement. So I dig down in every book, every podcast to just figure out how life works. So I started reading history, philosophy, psychology, human nature, self-improvement in general, like how to handle your money, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, all those crazy books. I mean, I read them all. You can see it. There's some of them there. But like, I read so many books trying to figure out who I was, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to become, where I wanted to go, how to fix my life, essentially, to figure out what I wanted. And the funny part is, before that, I wasn't even into reading, but I was just so afraid. I was so afraid to be lost. I was afraid to be normal. I was afraid to be essentially myself. Because I think when you're younger, like in the beginning, you're very, let's say we're talking about 12, right? So in the beginning, you are very like playful, and you're doing all these type of things, and you're very social and speaking with everyone and playing outside, and just it's very fun time. And then also you grow up and you go to middle school, and then you kind of build this barrier around yourself. You make this wall, and then everything is like kind of weird, and oh no, what if you have an identity? I mean, that's so weird. Like, you're kind of trying to be a sheep, one of the herd, and then afterwards, now you're kind of trying to figure out who you were in the beginning, so who you were as a child. And that's very, very difficult to do, especially if you're just constantly being busy and keeping yourself busy with all kinds of things. I went down like an obsessive path of figuring out what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, how I wanted to go there. And this led me to start investing in crypto, trying drop shipping, copywriting. I tried it all, right? But nothing really stuck. But I was really desperate in finding something which I can kind of be passionate about, because I just wanted the money in the beginning. So I started reading everything, and I actually started to take action on it. So I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was doing where is the book there, to be honest, maybe? Yeah. So I was reading Think and Grow Rich, right? So you're manifesting and visualizing a successful version of yourself. And I was journaling, do the meditation and cold plunge. And I did a whole routine to just figure out what I wanted to do to visualize a version of myself. But how can you visualize success if you, to be honest, don't even know where you want to go? Like, I was then just visualizing a version of success which was imprinted on social media. Like you just scrolled social media and then you saw like a version of success and you kind of thought to yourself, that's what I want. That's something I aim for, and then you visualize the dream of someone else, right? But you still haven't found exactly what you're aiming towards. So I was trying for years to visualize a dream of someone else. And at the same time, I still had a very big love for science. So I was studying pharmaceutical sciences. I just graduated, so that's very nice. And in this study, actually, I still love everything about it. You study how you can actually make drugs for people with a disease. So obviously, so for example, the best way to describe this is in one of our courses, they, for example, said, okay, we have a patient with Jakob-Creutzfeldt disease, and you need to figure out how you can cure him. And then they just did this, they just let this be, and we had to come up with a drug. So, long story short, I kind of sidetracked here, but I really love science, and I love the self-improvement part. I loved the mindset stuff. I loved figuring out how life works. Even though I was studying at university, even though I was reading tons and tons of books, I still felt lost. I was training, I was taking all the supplements, I was doing crazy morning routines, but I still felt lost, and I still didn't feel like I understood better what I wanted to do. So the real first shift started to happen when I decided to run a marathon. I think it was like after 3 years of studying, and essentially when I started out as a young guy drinking and working out a lot, I did now the same thing as a student. So I just grew up a little bit, I updated my social circle, but I still drank and I still did all these stuff which wrecked your body, but like you're still young, so it kind of, you get away with it, right? So after 2 years, I just figured that this isn't it. I mean, I still felt the same way as I did that night when I read that line, "Who are you?" I still didn't know, so I was still confused. And the real shift started to happen when I decided to run a marathon. Again, the only thing I knew this far was just pushing harder, just being more disciplined, just force myself to take more action in terms of like physical action, right? So I forced myself to do the toughest marathon of the Netherlands, and I believed, because if I finished this, I would probably know better what I wanted to do with my life. I mean, then all of a sudden you figure it out. Like that's basically what I thought, and it actually worked out, but not for the reason you might think. So I couldn't run with music for the marathon. So eventually you have to run like a long distance, right? And you have to focus on your breathing and your pace. And if I was listening to music, I would get distracted and just run too hard, burning myself out, and then just like ruining the whole run. So halfway through the training for this marathon, for the toughest marathon of the Netherlands, I decided to stop listening to music during these runs. And that was the first time when I actually started to think, started to notice things, and started to kind of think about life in a different way. Because until that point, I always kept myself busy. Like I was always inside doing work, listening to podcasts, reading self-improvement books, working out, calisthenics, studying. I was always keeping myself so busy, and it was the first time I actually took a break. I was, don't get me wrong, I was still preparing for a marathon, but like mentally it felt like a break, because I had nothing on my mind except for running. It was like a meditation. And what I kind of remembered is that I felt that I lost my inner child, basically. And what I mean by that is that I always picked nature for my run. So I looked up for a nice forest, and I just made like a circle there and just ran in the forest, right? And I just thought every time to myself, why am I not doing this every day? Why am I not doing this every week? Because it was so beautiful. It was so enjoyable to be in nature. And I was just thinking, like, how could I forget that nature is so nice, actually? Uh, and from that point, I realized that I never actually did nothing. And especially nowadays, with internet and television and TikTok, it's so easy to be constantly stimulated by dopamine, by quick dopamine hits which mean nothing. I mean, think of it. What was the last time you scrolled an hour on your phone and can actually remember like the first 5 scrolls? Probably not. If you do, you're a special specimen. But like, it's almost impossible to remember the first reels you've watched when you opened Instagram or TikTok, right? So I just figured that it's such a waste of mental energy. And during this time, I also looked at other things in my life which were kind of draining me of energy, of mental energy. So I stopped watching the news. I stopped like watching all these gossip channels, and yeah, I basically just focused on the things which I believed at that point were helping me achieve my goals. At that point, I was just working out and self-improvement. But this was actually a very good step in the right direction. I was still pushing very hard with the discipline stuff, but like, this was a very good decision to just focus all my energy on me, on pursuing a goal, right? So after running this marathon, after finishing it, after grinding and pushing myself through on purely discipline, because I hated running. I didn't even like running a marathon. I just wanted to do it for the accomplishment, because I just felt that I had to do it because everyone was running a marathon and I have to prove this to myself that I was capable. But it was actually a good thing. And at the same time, I got a girlfriend then, which taught me many amazing lessons about life, actually. So after a while, I think after a year, this girlfriend broke up with me. And as many guys, what you're then doing is, yeah, reflecting on your life. Why did I do it wrong? But with me, I didn't actually think about what I was doing wrong, and it was more the same story as in the beginning. I was just thinking, I'm not pushing hard enough. I'm not doing hard, because during this whole relationship, the feeling that I got during this relationship was that I was slacking. I was spending less time on self-improvement. I was spending less time chasing my goals, and I felt that. I was like a double-edged sword in this relationship, because I truly loved being with this girl, but I also felt bad that if I spent a lot of time with this girl, I didn't spend enough time on my goals, and I wouldn't be successful and wouldn't be productive, and I'm not gonna reach anything. So after this whole insight of the marathon and now my breakup, I started to do one last challenge, the 75 hard. And again, I still only knew how to push harder. I got like a small glimpse, a small insight where I reflected on the power of nature, how nature can rejuvenate your mind. But I still didn't truly understand what it meant. So I did the 75 hard to prove myself I can truly commit to my goals, to be crazy disciplined. So I had to work out twice a day, read a book, drink 3 liters of water. I mean, you had to do a whole list of things. And in my case, I lived in a student house. In my case, I went for a run in the morning where I dipped in the water, and I did meditation, and then like went on my day, and at night I did the second workout. And during this time, the meditation actually resulted in the biggest result, because during this meditation I was just sitting on like a small wooden bench in nature, and I was just thinking about where do I want to go in my life, what do I want to do? What is helping me? What isn't helping me? And what things in my life, what habits, what routines am I doing and why am I doing them? And slowly but steady, I started to see that all of these actions, all of these routines, all of these things I got taught by these self-improvement gurus, about all the things I read online on social media, all the things I saw other people do, didn't help me whatsoever. And that I had to figure out what worked for me, right? Because if you see a routine of someone else and you think, oh, this guy is successful and he probably has his life sorted out. If you then imitate this routine, it doesn't mean you're going to be successful in like using it. So you have to kind of figure out for yourself what is a routine which works for you and why are you doing this routine. Because in my case, I was just doing it with the idea, actually with the hope that it would help me reach my goals, with the idea that if I just continue to do this routine long enough, I would be ripped, my testosterone would be better, I would be successful, like luck would just magically appear, right? But like I wasted hours and hours and hours on random routines for my health, for my testosterone, to be productive, to be successful. And the only thing what they actually did was just draining me of willpower, draining my mental energy. So I then did actually do this whole morning routine. But afterwards I was just drained as hell. I couldn't do anything else, and I mean I pushed through. Don't get me wrong, my discipline was on point. I was very good at pushing through, and I was always able to like still fix my stuff. I was still managing my university, but also my student life, and I mean I was still managing everything. But like at this point in life, again, you're basically running on a car on low fuel. And this low fuel became the new normal because I didn't know how it felt like to be healthy. So I just assumed that being tired all day, not waking up mid morning wood, gut issues is just normal and this is genetics. I mean, it's probably, yeah, I just got bad luck, right? That's what I thought. So after finishing 75 hard, and I think it's actually happened like 2 weeks prior, I got this feeling after meditating and after going for the cold plunge in shitty weather, in raining weather, and like I just knew, apparently I just like got this feeling that I just knew that if I wanted something, I was able to get it and I didn't need crazy routines. So for the first time in my life, I kind of let go and I was able to kind of get a bird's eye view of things. So I was looking at my life and I was like, you are doing so many things which are not helping you reach your goals. I was telling myself I was aiming for something, but I didn't actually take action toward that goal. I was just keeping myself busy. And that went for all things in my life. So I'd rather had the feeling of feeling busy than actually taking action toward a goal. And I remembered very clearly, and this is where the biggest change happened and where kind of the root of TheLostBio is I remembered that if you want to grow, you have to stop lying to yourself. Because so many times people say they want to do something, but they are not actually doing something. And once I realized how I was just avoiding real action, I started to fix the foundation. And basically only then, everything changed. I remember this so clearly. I think I was so happy when I realized this. Is this, I don't need crazy routines to feel validated. I don't need to do this huge list of things to feel worthy. Because at that point, don't get me wrong, I was ripped. I was completely ripped. But I still felt mentally weak. I still wasn't confident. I still was tired. Again, I had no morning wood. My testosterone and libido was gone. So I still felt like a failure. But I was technically very disciplined. I was grinding, I was doing everything right, but I still felt like a failure, and I still didn't understand how, because I was doing everything right. I was doing everything I had supposed to do, following social media, following podcast people, and I couldn't understand how. So I stopped looking for my answers externally. I started looking internally what I wanted to do. Where do I want to go? And I started doing this when I was 17. But now something changed, because now I was confident with the idea that if I truly wanted something, I was able to get it. And now I was truly confident in that being true. And at the time I started posting the videos, I started to post the 75 hard, right? And at that time I stopped fearing the opinions of other people, because your inner child, I was just scared of being my own man. I was scared of being seen. I was scared of being a person who stands for something. I think so many people today are actually so scared to being seen, so scared to actually just stand for something. So I stopped looking for the next program. I stopped looking for the next diet hack. I stopped looking for the next supplement. I stopped looking for the next perfect morning routine. And I started to look at, what do I want? And I started to focus on what actually mattered. So I stopped training 6 to 7 times a week. I trained smarter. I stopped randomly eating everything, and I started to focus on real, natural food. Food that is consumed by our ancestors for centuries. Like, we have distanced ourselves of nature in so many ways. It's actually crazy to me that the Western countries, like, nothing of this is natural. Even this isn't natural. And I started to look at how people thrived in the early days, how people were able to just live their life happy and healthy. And so I stopped overloading my body with useless stimulants. I replenished all my personal hygiene. I dialed in my sleep. I dialed in my stress management. I fixed my nutrition. And I realized that so many people today are actually clueless in how to fix their health. They're so lost in a immense sea of information on supposed health, that they are so lost, and that our basic biology, because life isn't difficult. It's only difficult because there are now so many options. And that's why we're getting confused, because, for example, if you're going to a restaurant and you get a menu card with like 50 options, you're getting overwhelmed, right? You're like, fuck. If you then make a decision, you always get FOMO for other dishes. So we have so many options, so much information, that we're just getting overwhelmed, and then are just making the wrong decision. And if we even do make the right decisions, we're second guessing ourselves, and then we're never truly happy with the things we're doing, because we can always compare to other people, to better diets, to another supplement. It never ends. And that vicious cycle was so annoying to me that I just started looking for a simpler way to fix your health, to fix your nutrition, to just be as healthy as possible, fix your testosterone, a simpler, more natural way, which is just sustainable in the long term, which you can just adhere to without needing to watch or follow a influencer's routine. Like a simple way to just optimize your health. And again, so many people today are feeling weak, tired, exhausted, or dealing with low testosterone, with gut issues, and they're looking for answers. But looking for answers online is like finding that needle in like a very big pile of hay. It's so difficult, and you can never truly know if it works. And that's because modern fitness, modern health isn't made for us to thrive. I mean, if you're scrolling on social media, if you're watching television, if you're following all the external advice, that's just made for you to be stuck. And that's exactly what most people are today. They are stuck and they don't even know it. They're not self-aware, and they just think that they have to push harder, have to be more disciplined, have to just wait a little bit longer, have to try another magical diet. But you don't need another diet. You don't need another supplement. You don't need to be more disciplined. You just need to be more smart about what you're putting your energy towards. You need to look at nature, because nature always provided us with the answers. And that's why I created TheLostBio, because I wanted to show people that there's an easier way to optimize your health. There's a better way to just fix your health without relying on crazy routines, on a lot of supplements, on synthetic, artificial food. If you just look at nature, then you know how you can fix your health. And once I understood this, my testosterone skyrocketed. I was able to get way more gains with doing less. I just dialed in everything and it just clicked. And it was so relieving. It was so nice that all of a sudden the stress just disappeared. I just was confident in myself, in what I was doing. I wasn't second guessing anymore. I wasn't confused. I was just sure that this worked, and I wanted to share this feeling, and this is exactly why I'm making this video. And the reason I told you my story is that I hope to show you that by chasing all the latest trends, chasing what external things are telling you to do, just doesn't work. And I mean, yeah, you can make it work, but you're not thriving. And I just want to thrive in the most primal, natural way possible, just living my life peacefully without relying on influencers, the latest trends, chasing aesthetics, chasing dumb shit. Because I just want to show people how to become powerful, how to be strong without needing difficult stuff. So that was a lot of my backstory, but I just hope it resonated with you. You got something out of it. I showed you why I'm doing this, and that nowadays so many things are fake, look fake, and I kind of hope that you have seen that I was also lost in the beginning, and that it is not impossible to make your dream life come true. It's actually simpler than you think, but we always make it more difficult for ourselves. We always push ourselves too hard and are focusing on the wrong stuff. And I just hope I can teach you, or I can show you, or I have shown you that sometimes it's better to just take a step back, reflect on your life, reflect on the things you're doing in your daily day, to just see, are these things actually helping me in reaching my goals, or am I just keeping myself busy, preventing from taking real action? So that's the exact reason why I made this channel, to just show you how to really optimize your health without chasing useless trends, without doing fat diets, counting every calorie. I just want to show you a real, simple, sustainable way of optimizing your health. So if you're serious about your health and you're tired of feeling lost, weak, you're tired of having low testosterone while doing everything right, then give me a follow, because I intend on sharing you and showing you a proven system which can truly optimize your health without unnecessary things which are not sustainable in the long run. And again, this isn't for guys who are just looking for a quick dopamine hit, for quick motivation. It is for guys who are really ready to just take action, to make something of their life, to just be fucking ready, be a man, be strength. It's for men who are done with feeling weak. It's for men who just finally want to take action, take real action. And I hope I just shown you a real raw way on health And yeah, I think that's it. This is my story. I showed you my mission. I hope you can get something out of it, and see you next time. Ciao. Follow me on Instagram, send me a DM if you have any questions. I'm very eager to help whoever wants help, and yeah, see you next time.